Hey, it's Tuesday and we've got another Christmastime mystery quilt block. Hey, this is Carrie's Canary Quilts and it's Tuesday and we have another Christmastime mystery block to put together. And this week it's called Hard Candy and it turned out so cute. So this is this week's block, this is last week's block. And I used the white background in this also, but it's not the same as this one. I still think it turned out super cute. Also, in their pattern they show 2 different color candies and I did 4 color. I mean, there's 2 black, but they're 2 different fabrics. So let's just say I did 4 different fabrics instead of 2 different fabrics for the candy. But yeah, this is a free pattern put out by Fat Quarter Shop. They're doing a mystery quilt along called Christmas Time. And you can go over and grab the pattern, use your own fabric like I am, or they have a fabric kit that is, I think it's called Christmas Time by Fig Quilts. And yeah, the fabric kit you can grab and you can do the whole quilt in the same fabrics like they're doing it. But I'm just using my fabrics because like everybody else I have a ton of Christmas fabrics. But anyway, I'm just going to put this block together. This is an easy pattern. I think it's labeled as easy, so if you're starting out quilting, this is a great one to start out with and you'll have a cute little Christmas quilt in the end. But yeah, hit the subscribe button, notification bell. I'll let you know. That will let you know when I have next week's mystery quilt block out. And we can put it together. But yeah, check out the links below. I've got my fabrics, plus I have the mystery quilt fabrics, and I also have a link to the free pattern. So you can go grab it for yourself. But anyway, let's get started. Okay, to get started on our Christmastime mystery quilt along, we are on week 2, and this one's called Hard Candy Christmas. So I am using my own fabrics. As you saw last week, this is my last week's mug. It turned out super cute. And I'm using a couple of holiday fat quarters. I'm just mixing them together. One's mostly black, whites, and grays. And then the other one has some reds and greens in it. So I'm just picking and choosing from those. And I have those fat quarters listed below in the description if you like them. But that's how I did my first one here. It turned out super cute. And then for the Hard Candy Christmas, they suggest they're showing using 2 different fabrics. You know, 2 candies have the same fabric. I'm going to use 4 different fabrics. I think it will look really cool. So I've got 2 black fabrics. This one has like little light bulbs, little Christmas lights on it. And this one has text like snowflake, cherish the season, winter wonderland, and then 2 snowflake patterns. And then my background is going to be the white colorway of this. So you can grab this pattern for free. You can use your own fabrics. Or if you like the fabrics, which are Christmas stitched by Fig Tree Quilts, I've got a link to those below also. I've got a link to the quilt kit if you want to do the quilt kit like Fat Quarter Shop is doing. But let's get started on working on our Hard Candy Christmas block. I'm going to get everything cut and then I'll come back here and show it to you. Alright, here's my fabric cuts. I've got my background A's, which I have 4 of these rectangles. And I have 32 squares of my background fabric. And then for my candy fabrics, part C, I have 1 of each of those. Because we have 4 candies, I need 1 of each of these for C. And then this is going to be paired with this to make 2 flying geese on either side of each of the candies. So I have 2 of each one of these colors over here also to complete the piece of candy. Pretty easy. First thing we have to do though is on all 32 of these, we need to draw a diagonal line on the back of them. So I'm going to get my diagonal line drawn and then we'll come back and we'll start making the flying geese. Okay, I'm all set up here to start my Hard Candy Christmas Time block. So what we need to do is we literally need to put all of these onto all of these and all of these. In every corner of these and to 2 corners of these. So I'm going to chain piece. I'll show you what I'm going to do. So I've got my diagonals done and we need to chop off the top corner, top left corner first. So we're going to put our diagonal from the center down to the bottom left corner. We are going to sew on this line right here. Then we're going to come back, we're going to cut a 1/4 inch seam from that line, and we're going to iron towards the white background. I am going to do the exact same thing on the rest of these also. But also on these, we need to do all 4 corners. So I'm just going to start with one because that's all we can do. And I'm going to add these here also, and then I'll come back and show you how to trim them. Now we want to trim a 1/4 inch from our seam here. So I'm going to place the 1/4 inch of my ruler on that seam and then trim right up against the ruler, and I get my 1/4 inch seam. Now we're going to iron towards the background. So now what we want to do is we need to add another one of these to the other side of our large rectangles. And then we need to add one of these squares to the other side. So when you're putting the other square on for your flying goose, make sure that your diagonal crosses the other one up here so that you get that nice triangle in the middle. Okay, so we've got our flying geese done. We have the remainder of our squares with the diagonals, and we're going to put all the remainder on the corners here. So on these large rectangles, we are cutting off all 4 corners. So let's work on this corner. And I always say cutting off because the line goes this way, and we're going to cut that corner off. So on the line, trim a 1/4 inch from your seam and iron towards the background square. And now we have all our corners trimmed and ironed towards the background. We're going to add our last piece onto the final corner. Now that we have all our corners trimmed and ironed towards the background, we'll add our final corner to all our large rectangles. So on the line, trim a 1/4 inch from your seam and iron towards the background. Alright, here's our 4 bodies of our candy pieces right here, I guess if you want to call them that. Finished with our background corners put on. And then we've got our flying geese, and I've matched them all up to their fabrics. And we're going to match the background pieces right here to give us that turned candy look. So from this point, we will just take our flying goose and we can line up we can match up, you can use a pin, but match up these corners right here. I guess it is a corner. The points, match those points up. And pin it. And then we can get all these sewn on. And these are going to be ironed open. And once we get these on, we'll iron them open. We'll add the other side, iron that open, and our little candy pieces will be done, and we can start making our block. Okay, so iron these at sew these at 1/4 of an inch and come back and iron them open. Okay, here's our first side put on. And I iron those seams open, and we'll do the exact same thing for the other side. And our little candies will be ready. Ready to go and be displayed in our quilt block. Remember, match these points. Okay, here's my 4 candies, and that's how I'm going to lay them out. And we're just going to make our rows by taking our A rectangle and adding it to our candy. So at that point we'll have 4 rows, and then we'll put those 4 rows together and iron them open. So take your A rectangle. Doesn't matter which side you put it on because you can flip it. Sew it onto the side of one of your flying geese, and that will be with a 1/4 of an inch seam, and I'm using a 1/4 inch foot. And we are going to actually iron these towards the background rectangle. So iron it towards the white piece in my case. Okay, we're going to iron this rectangle we just sewed on towards the rectangle. We just want to lay it out so they're alternating as we go down the line. And I'm doing red, black, green, black. So, no seams to match when we put these together, so just line them up edge to edge, sew a 1/4 of an inch, and we are going to iron these open. So both these seams at a 1/4 of an inch, and we're going to iron these open. Okay, we've got our 2 rows sewn together, and we're going to iron those seams open. All right, we're ready to complete our block. So now we just want to add this section to this section, just like we did with the rows. Edge to edge. Pin in between. So a 1/4 of an inch and iron open, and our block will be done. Here we go, all finished with our cute hard candy Christmas block. That turned out super cute. I love my fabrics that I chose. And then here's the other one. I don't know how this is going to be laid out, so just because they're not the same size isn't a big deal. Or we could be putting borders in. I have no idea. This is a mystery quilt, but yeah, they're going to be in the same quilt. Turned out super cute. I'm very happy. Super easy. This really is a beginner's quilt block. So is this. So these flying geese and this big rectangle here in the middle is constructed exactly the same way. So not too hard. Yeah, let me know if you're doing this and what fabrics you're using. So I have the fabrics that I used in my 2 blocks so far. I have those listed down below. I also have the quilt along fabrics. that they're using for the actual quilt along. But anyway, this free pattern, I've got the pattern link down below in the description also, so just you can use your own fabrics and put this cute little mystery quilt together. We got 3 more weeks. I don't know if that means 3 more blocks or if it's 2 more blocks and a week of assembly. But yeah, it's turning out super cute. So they're actually the same size like this, so I don't know if they'll go like that. Hit the subscribe button, notification bell, and you'll get notified when I put out next week's block. And see what it is before you get started and watch me put it together. But yeah, I had a lot of fun doing this block, had a lot of fun doing this video, and I'll see you in the next one.